can honestly say that the existence of MPAC has never been more important, despite the fact that Islam and Muslims are now part of the American mosaic, a process that I've watched for longer than I would like to indicate, because then you'll figure out my years of living on this earth, but let's say at least 40 years, integrated politically, socially, economically, educationally. And yet, that's the good news. The not so good news is that the current climate in which we live makes things even more dangerous and also provides opportunities. One can't exaggerate where we are today. All those steps forward are still contingent almost all the time on whether or not there's an attack overseas, whether or not there's an attack in the US that is attributed to Muslims. They're contingent upon the fact that Islamophobia has grown exponentially. And as a major media organization, Media Tenet, put it in its last study, it's here to stay for at least the foreseeable future. In one of its studies between 2001 and 2011, it looked at 975,000 pieces of media, European and American media, and found in 2001, the coverage, in all that coverage of Muslims was 2% extremism, 0.1% mainstream Muslims. 2011, the 2% went to 25%, other side remained at 0.1%. A study that it did in 2015 found that things had gotten even worse. Looking at the US, the UK, and Germany in terms of mass media, 9 out of 10 stories were negative. Even the mainstream stories, more than 50% tended to be negative. We see a well-oiled Islamophobia network that has received in the last 10 years well over $150 million to support the people, those that run websites like Jihad Watch. We see the presidential elections and the rhetoric of the presidential elections, including Islam hates us, not Muslim extremists hate us, Islam hates us. We see an administration with talented people in it. Despite that, the Secretary of State, the Secretary of Defense, the head of the CIA, the Attorney General, all have in recent years, however different and talented they are, said that Islam is not a religion, it's a political ideology, dangerous and needs to be dealt with. That kind of logic affects the civil liberties of Muslims as well as American foreign policy. You have a chance to make a difference. You know, years ago, I used to talk about the Muslim couch potato, which got some of my Muslim friends upset. I said, basically, the Muslim couch potato was like the guy who gets up in a running outfit and goes out. I tend to be a runner, only he doesn't run. He puts the outfit on and sits and watches football. The Muslim couch potato is the person that always sits during a fundraiser and can't reach their wallet. They're always there for Palestine. We get together, we talk about Palestine, we talk about it, we cry, we sweat over Palestine, we break for dinner, and then we get back in our cars and go home, and we think we've done what we need to do. Without your support of your community, without your support, what made Italian Americans able to move forward, what made Jewish Americans, what makes South Asian Indians ready to have an impact is the support of its community. With that support, you then pull in support from people outside the community. But unless the example is set within the community, the other part of what you do, and this is what MPAC does so well, is that it provides alternative narratives to what we hear out there. When you look at MPAC's interaction with government, with media, with Hollywood, in interfaith relations, it provides the alternative narratives, not just the narrative of saying this is what Muslims are about, but the narrative of actually providing examples in space of Muslims who are simply living in America and making it in America, the way other Americans do. And that can be seen and respected for what and who they are, putting aside their religion, as it were. Just as Americans, they are doing what other Americans do. And they bring their faith to the table. Having known both the Hathout brothers and watched Salam over the years, I strongly encourage you at this time to give to your community. Thank you.